Hey guys, welcome back to Spooky Tuesday, a weekly podcast where we're breaking down all of our favorite slashers, thrillers, monster movies, and black comedies on the new scariest day of the week. I'm Cindy Thompson.
I'm Monica Height.
And I'm Chelsea Duff. And Homoerotic Thriller Pride continues.
Continues!
And to celebrate our beautiful month, we did a movie that actually is not an erotic thriller.
To you.
Erotically, I was thrilled at some points, but it is not an erotic thriller. But that's okay, because instead, we went on a journey to the past. You might notice we look a little different today if you're on the YouTube. Oh my God, what is this? 1942 or something? Well, yes, that is the year that Cat People came out. So spot on. Great job, listener. You really fit the bill there. But we went all the way back to a beautiful, beautiful, is it RKO? RKO OG horror movie. They did them different back then, but they were still gay. They were still gay, okay? And this one is still gay. And in this essay, we will argue.
And in this essay, we will.
Yeah, well, because you're saying it's not an erotic thriller, and I'm like, I swear it was on those lists, but now I'm like, maybe only the 80s remake was on the list, but I'm also like, maybe it was an erotic thriller for the
time.
Yeah, maybe it was considered erotic then.
There were...
I don't know.
I don't know. I couldn't say. I don't
live
know.
back then. Wasn't around.
No, yeah. And that's okay with me, even though I
okay.
fucking loved the fashion in this. And I was so happy to be able to dress as what's her name? Irena today, because this is an exact outfit I wore to Christmas with my family 2 years ago. And I was like, well, I have her exact outfit. That's perfect. But anyway, before we get too far down the road, let me just tell you the IMDb log line. It says, an American man marries a Serbian immigrant who fears that she will turn into the cat person of her homeland's fables if they are intimate together. And that pretty much
kind of erotic.
It is erotic. Well, let me, for example, tell you what the IMDb log line is for Cat People 1982, because that is the one that I read, and I was like, how different could it be? It could be a little different. Oh wait, this is different. It's different than the one that I read even. Okay, it was like, sexy encounter, she turns into a cat if she gets aroused or something like that. And I was like, whoa, this is gonna be crazy. And it is that. It is that still in this movie. But there's not going to be any sexy, sapphic, heavy petting. Okay? Just spoiler alert now. You're not going to... This movie hasn't inspired a Chapel Roan song yet. But that doesn't mean...
There's still time!
There's still time.
This
She's
movie
working
was
on
working
new music
within the
right
Hays
now.
Code.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It couldn't be overtly queer, but that doesn't mean that it can't be hinting, going hint, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, the whole time.
When we say it is for homoerotic thriller pride, we truly mean that it is homoerotic and not gay. It is not textually gay, but you can read homoeroticism into the text.
And that's thrilling, actually.
And that thrills us.
It was homoerotic for the people who got a queer read from this movie at the time.
And I am going to trust them that it felt meaningful back then.
Here's the thing. I think it felt really meaningful now.
No, and I'm prepared to have that conversation, and I'm so ready to buy in. But I was expecting more, I think. And we talked about it a little in our group chat earlier, because like the constraints of the Hays Code really are that like you cannot show anything even like queer suggestive really in movies unless they get like fully villainized and also usually dead. And I was expecting more queerness in this movie and also for her to be a bigger villain in that way, but it was a much more sympathetic read for the character than I was expecting, which meant also they had to really like dial back the subtext as well.
But I think it being really sympathetic towards her creates this like really beautiful of okay, like she's fighting with herself, but also like at the end she's like, no wait, I want this, but now I don't, but like it's so good.
It was interesting. Yeah, no, it gives us the opportunity to see a queer coded, very coded character, like grapple with things instead of being like fucking Ursula,
Right. This is not Dracula's daughter seducing the women of the town.
Exactly. Like she
because that's what happens in that
more
movie,
average
and they can show
girly.
That. They can get more explicitly, well, I don't know how explicit they get, but it is much more explicitly gay in that movie, which is also from the 40s, but it's also like she is explicitly the villain of the film as opposed to someone who is like trying to resist and be trying to assimilate and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
That's someone who is like actively praying, blah, blah, blah. So it's just a different outlook, which is, I think, going to be an interesting discussion.
Totally. And I think watching this twice was helpful too, because the first time that I watched it, I was like, okay, she saw that woman who's obviously a sexy lesbian, also a cat person in the bar. And now they're going to have a tryst. So I'm just like waiting for that blonde bitch to come back
around.
The entire time. I was like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It didn't happen. So
when Oliver and Alice were like in that restaurant at one point, there was like one woman in black sitting behind them, and I was like, it's her! And like, then I don't know, I guess it wasn't, but
it wasn't her. It was another woman in a turban or whatever. I don't know. Oh man, I actually have a 1940s like turban hair thing. I could have worn that, but instead I'd have to be blonde. Can't do that.
Okay, but Sydney, it seems like you really liked it, so I want to hear you say more.
I love this movie, actually. Like,
okay, sell me on it.
There's so many things where if you are in the closet already, and I think maybe like I came out pretty early. I was like 15, right?
Yeah.
But we're in the South, know what I mean? And so there was a lot of people that, still try to assimilate into things, like they can't express themselves in the way that they want to, and they use it like they're scared, quite frankly, like to fully express themselves. And with her, she is like, I can't kiss somebody, or I can't have affection, because if I do, and there's a lot of religious tones for this too, where it talks about like the great dark sins, or like your sins are gonna be exposed to this. And so she's like,
totally,
if I can't, like, I don't want to kiss this man, like my sins, like I'm gonna turn into, like, my animalistic side is gonna come in, and I'm gonna kill this man because I don't want to kiss him. Like, my natural instinct of not wanting to kiss men are gonna come out, and then I'm gonna have to murder them. And I think that's hella gay. And like, beautiful too. Like, the way that it's shot, the way that
it's gorgeously shot.
And they did it on like a fucking nothing budget. I think it was like $140,000. Which, honestly, also, fun fact. So Citizen Kane, which for the longest time was like considered, it was a flop, but then considered like one of like a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
It only made like a little over $1 million. Either like its first week or like something like that. Cat People made $4 million. So like cat people at the time was a
It was
bigger
a banger.
success and was one of the first films to like utilize a jump scare.
Oh, nice. That's super cool. I don't know. I agree with what you're saying. I think another read for the queerness aspect of this too is like a queer person who's from such an insular, a closeted queer person who like doesn't even have like the terminology for what they're feeling or doesn't really know that being queer is like an option, but she knows that like she doesn't feel right. Like it feels dangerous to do what she's supposed to do, but she like which is marrying a man,
Mm.
but she does it anyway because that's what she is supposed to do, but she doesn't like it. She doesn't want it. It doesn't feel natural to her. She feels like something bad will happen if she like goes all the way through and is intimate with him. So it just feels like her not having like if she finally got to hang out with that cool lesbian cat blonde woman, then she would be like, this is what lesbianism is. And it's when you kiss girls. And she'd be like, oh my God, I didn't even know that was a thing.
But then she'd
You know what I
immediately
mean?
transform into a puma or a panther or whatever. You know what I mean? The second she even heard about
Maybe
it.
she only turns into a fucking puma when she's kissing men because she's gay and she doesn't want to be kissing men. What about that? Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's the secret. It's like when she forces herself to assimilate into straight culture, she turns into a spicy beast. She has to only be kissing other lesbians in order to have a safe sexual experience.
I
Well,
love. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
No, go.
No, I'll go. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, you keep talking.
Back to me.
I have nothing to say. Keep going.
I think that is interesting. Within the movie, they kind of contextualize it as like when you're feeling passionate or really strongly in whatever direction is when your
Yeah, just
animalistic
like
side sort of
anger
takes
brings
over.
it
Yeah,
out too.
jealousy, which is kind of how they frame it for the straight audience, presumably, is saying like she's getting jealous when she's hearing about Oliver and Alice and their relationship and what they share. I do think it's interesting that she only ever transforms. Is it a panther or is it a puma?
It's a panther.
I think it's a panther too. But puma is just the word. Are those the same animal? Maybe they're only
Puma is, I think, like
versus panther.
a mountain lion. It's
The
another
term
name for mountain
panther
lion.
is not a specific species of cat, but rather a descriptive term for a dark-colored melanistic version of a leopard or a jaguar. The term puma refers to the specific species Puma concolor, also known as the cougar, mountain lion, or catamount. Thank you, Google.
Fascinating. Okay, well, we're gonna go with panther for the purposes of this episode. Um, she only turns into a panther once she starts like stalking Alice. So you're kind of saying her animalistic side is coming out to murder him when she's being forced into this position that is like so against her natural instincts. I think what the movie was trying to code it as was like her, not that they were trying to be like her lesbianism, but it's so focused on this other woman, which gives credence to it being a queer story, I think.
Yeah,
But
because she's mostly stalking Alice the whole time. You know, there is some
right,
violence against men, but she never fucks around with Oliver. Is that his name?
right, and like she's not feeling passionate about Oliver at all. I mean, she is like keeping a distance from him on purpose, perhaps to not provoke that. I would argue the reason that she felt safe enough to marry him in the first place is because she like doesn't feel that at all for him.
That's her beard, and she must protect that at all cost, actually.
It's just crazy that he didn't even realize he could have been getting on board. You know what I mean? They could have worked something out, I think, in a different time. But
oh my god, no! But he's so fucking inept too. This is so funny because like
but he's also
the courtship was
so progressive. Also,
In many ways.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want to kiss and we've already been married for a month and a half? That's cool. Until
No,
he's
he's
like,
nice.
you have these beliefs make you so scared, my poor little woman, with all of these big, scary, foreign beliefs. My crazy little baby, I have to take you to the doctor so he can cure your crazy big emotions.
but also too, like
Shut up, bitch.
that's really progressive. Actually, instead of being like, I think you're insane, he's like, okay, this
Well,
is something that you believe, like you really believe.
yeah.
Like, how can we get you help and like work through this?
He's pretty chill for most of it. I just thought the courtship aspect of this movie was fucking hilarious. It was so funny.
I feel like he was standing with that other girl. He ditched her so quick.
But
When he's
I
drinking
was
his
Oh, at
little
the front?
soda at the cart at the zoo.
Oh, I didn't even remember that. This is a blip. He was immediately like, "Oh, hot girl drawing a picture. Love that. Let me get
I
over there."
I was texting my friend Maggie, and she's single and going through like men issues clearly, and I was like, girl, you, the 40s was where it was at. Date 2, they're like, I'm in love with you, we're gonna be together
We're
for all
married.
time.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "You just told me that you loved me." I was like, "Did she say that?" Like, I don't think so. It was so weird. It was like, she's like, "You want to come in for tea?" I was like, "Wow, I can't believe she didn't come and turn into a panther right then." That was the flirtiest way someone has asked someone to do tea in a long time. Um, yeah, it was so hilarious. And they're like, "Oh yeah, it's been 3 days. We're married. Cool."
We're
What's
married.
that?
Yay. Thanks,
What's that
Alice, for setting that up.
What's that Anchorman quote where it's like, sex panther, 60% of the time it works every time?
Yeah, exactly that. That's exactly the vibe. Oh, I should have brought. I have a prop. Okay, you guys talk. I'll be back.
Okay. I don't know. It is so interesting their relationship though, because she kind of positions herself as like, oh, I've never really done this before and I don't really do this, but she's so quick to be like, okay, like come into my place and let's get tea. Like, okay, like let's hang out again for dinner tomorrow. Like she wants love and companionship.
She wants companionship, but she's like so scared of it also. But one of my favorite like lines that come in this, and it comes up again, where it's that first night and you can hear, because she lives like right by the zoo,
She lives right by the zoo. She can hear the lions
you
at
can
night.
hear like the lions, and she makes like an offhand comment about how, yeah, the panther sounds like a woman screaming or something like that. And
Funny.
How do you know what a woman screaming sounds like?
well, but
Yeah.
later in the movie, when they're married and they're living together, then he's still sleeping on the sofa and she's in the bedroom, and he's like, okay, good night. She almost opens the door to let him in and doesn't, because she hears the panther make its like screaming noise, and she's like, nope, can't do that. Like, I don't know, to me that was like really beautiful. Like, the call, you're like, you're going to, the call
reminder.
of
Yeah.
lesbianism is making its noise.
There's a line in there too in the beginning where she says like the darkness is friendly. Like the darkness is my friend, which is very like I'm hiding in the shadows. You know what I mean? Like I'm
Mhm.
not ready to step into the light.
I think also what you guys were talking about while I was grabbing my prop, as far as her like progressing the relationship, I think that's another reason. Like, it's her trying to turn away from what is innate inside of her, which is this like panther slash lesbianism. She's like, I can't do that. It's not acceptable in society in 1942 to be lesbian or a panther woman, which is shocking. And I'm so glad now in 2025 we
You
are
can be
accepting of
both.
panther women. Thank God. But yeah, so like I think she was like wanted to progress things along because she wants to feel the things she's supposed to feel. She wants to be normal desperately, but she can't be because she's not. Because she's actually a Puma woman. Sorry, I had it backwards. This is a bottle of mezcal that I got in Mexico. And it looks exactly like the Sex Panther perfume, by the way, that we were just talking about. This is what it's called. Mitre. Anyway, so I'll bring that out later.
I don't know. The
dirty.
Christianity aspect is interesting too, because she says explicitly in the movie that King John came and killed all the Mumaleks or whatever and instituted Christianity, and now we're all good Christians over there, except for the wisest and the wildest of the cat people who escaped into the hills. And when she sees the other Serbian woman at the Serbian restaurant who is another cat person, she like does the sign of the cross on herself. And I was reading the Wikipedia page for the Hays Code, which said it is very rooted in like Catholicism specifically, which is interesting, as opposed to just general Christianity. I'm not super, well versed on the differences per se, but to have them really held up in opposition does lend itself really easily to like the queer repressed read. And a lot of the articles about the queerness of this movie that I was reading were talking about her position as an immigrant is really what's holding her up as like the other. So it's very like metaphorical in that sense. That she's so set, she doesn't like look different from other people necessarily, but she has an accent, she has these other cultural beliefs that everybody kind of like dismisses, and it's so like not explicitly not American, and the American ethos and the way that they move through the world to such a degree that they like completely dismiss it as like children's mythology. I don't know, it's a very interesting position to put her in, where she goes along with it so quickly. And again, I think that's part of the immigrant thing of like the assimilation, and it also makes sense in terms of the read of how queer people who live in places like the South, where they just, whether or not they know what is going on with them specifically, they know they have to be one other particular thing, and so they're just like trying so hard to be that thing, whether or not it comes naturally from them, whether or not they know they have to like work hard at it to do that. I don't know, it reminds me a little bit of how older generations, I've talked about this with a queer friend before, but older generations are always like, being gay is a choice, and I know because I choose to be straight. And it's like, actually, maybe you have some things that you could have thought about in another life that you're just ignoring, because it is not you can choose to behave in whatever way you want, and you can choose to act in whatever way you want. And if you choose to marry a man and be intimate with him because that feels safest and like the right course of action to you for whatever reason, that is your life. But if you are choosing to be straight, and that's how you know other people are choosing to be gay, I am so sorry. I do have some news for you. Other people are not making a choice to be straight. It just doesn't even occur to them to be gay.
Exactly. They don't have that natural proclivity. Oh man, this is sorry a non sequitur, but I just like really enjoyed watching a movie from the 40s where everyone had that like transatlantic accent thing going on.
Yeah, I loved listening to everybody speak, and once again, my transatlantic accent is non-existent. I tried. It was so bad. The dogs were looking at me like, girl, what the fuck?
Don't even try it.
I don't know. Part of it was confusing for me too. I feel like I just haven't watched that many old movies necessarily. So I really was not meaningfully processing at first until they were like explicitly giving me the information that they'd been married for a month and a half and still hadn't kissed. I felt like it was one of those things where it was like they just weren't showing it on screen because it was the 40s and the Hays Code, blah blah blah. Like I couldn't parse like what Hollywood would not show in a movie versus like what was not happening for the characters. So I think I had some external struggles that like stopped me from fully being able to engage meaningfully with the film, because I just think the loss of context from that time, it's so hard to like lock into that and what the thinking was and the way this would have been like received at the time. But
They did kisses back then. And they were
yeah,
like,
you
not,
could
they
kiss.
didn't open their mouths. They just put their faces together really hard for a long time.
and that's why they would like do like the foot goes up and like the big swoon as they're just like
big smacky.
to show like it's a big romantic kiss, even if they're just doing
It's
a
important
smooch rather than like a
to
smack.
press your face to your significant other's face really, really, really
And you
hard.
just kind of like wiggle it around.
Yeah. A lot of wiggling. That's how you kiss, I'm pretty sure.
That's how I do it.
That's how I do it.
That's not how she does it. She doesn't do it at all.
She actually, how she does it is like this. No, the lips don't move, just stoic, and then the glowy eyes. But we'll get there.
This movie got a lot of fan mail though about the sexual tension, and it says some audience members read a lesbian meaning into it, and I was aware that could happen with the cafe scene. And Val, I think was the like one of the writers of it, got several letters after Cat People was released praising him for introducing lesbianism to films in Hollywood.
Whoa.
That's crazy. Wait, so the cafe scene being the scene with the other cat
The
lady?
Serbian restaurant.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah, I read
That was a
an
charged
article.
moment.
It sure
They
was.
really
The way she's like
teased-
sitting
they
there
really fucking
frozen
teased us.
afterwards.
Yeah.
Which I did see. One article was talking about how the people at the table with her remark on the other woman as being odd, and how calling a woman odd was sort of akin to calling a man a sissy.
Yeah.
Which is to say it was like kind of a queer coded remark about this woman, and for a closeted person to sort of be like recognized in public around other people by someone else from within their community, and to sort of be like called out in that sense, would kind of like strike that fear into your heart of like, she recognized me and now they're gonna know what I am, and I'm gonna be ostracized, and I'm gonna be struck out, and they're gonna be afraid of me, and I'm afraid of myself, and just I wanted them to run into each other again or something.
Yeah, no, that would have been really cool.
Or for her
I
to
would
talk
have-
to Alice more, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
she talks to Alice like at the cafe a little bit, and then she talks to Alice kind of again when it's like, you told her that I'm seeing a psychiatrist?
Oh my god, can we just like talk about Oliver for a second? Because like, yes, okay, he's a progressive man that is like, hello, wife who won't kiss me at all. It's fine, and that is great, and I love that, and that's how you should be. If you're not in a kissing mood, there should be no kissing. That's how it should be. He's also still a fucking idiot. I think he's an idiot. I think he also like does not understand love and relationships on any level at all. Because he's like, pretty lady here in front of me, interesting mystery, talks about cats. We're married now. I love that about her. Do we know each other at all? No. Do we talk? No. And then he's like, one other woman said she loved me, and I'm like, oh wait, actually I get along really well with this
Oh
girl.
my
We talk all the time. We go
God.
giggle hee hee ha ha all the time, and we love all the same things.
She loved my cat. My wife didn't like the cat that I got her, but she loved my cat.
Also,
She's
like,
missing-
don't
she
get-
loves barges, actually.
She loves barges. Could you believe if a man that I met yesterday bought me a cat today, I would freak out. I would be like, I was like, you've overstepped.
Unfortunately, that would probably work on me. So,
That's
And
real.
that's how you
real
know
for
it's a
Sydney.
bad choice. She already has 6 pets.
but also, can we talk about how, like, I don't know if y'all got the read, but like he tries to give her the cat, and she was like, "Oh, a man giving me a cat, like, no,
It's
thank
too
you."
dangerous to have any pussy in my life.
But so they go back and they're like, "Oh, what about we do a bird?" And she's like, "You pick the bird, like it's what you like, you pick the bird." And then so she has the bird, she seems like very content with the bird, and then she goes to like reach for the bird and the bird dies. And what does she do? She runs to the park and feeds that bird to that panther.
She
The way
eats
she
it.
chucks
She
it into the
eats it. She's like, I don't know what it was. I just needed to feed this corpse to my kitty that I like. My kitty that I'm weirdly drawn
My
to.
spirit animal
My spirit panther.
must eat this bird that this man got me.
I
I
thought
don't know.
that
I
part
feel
was
like
so silly because she was like, "Oh no, the bird died when I slapped it around a whole bunch
I
inside the
know.
cage." I'm like, "That's not how having a bird works, I don't think."
Well, that's the thing too, is I really came into this movie with expectations that I think completely colored my viewing of it.
Same.
And I would need to like let that settle and then watch it again at some point in the future. But I thought she was really trying to get that bird when she's chasing it all around the cage with her hand, and then it dies and she picks it up and immediately chucks it into the panther cage. Um, and the way that she is so like, she's not antagonizing the animals at the pet store, but the way that they all react to her, I thought she kind of had a better awareness of what the deal was, at least. And then I didn't really understand until she said it out loud to him later, where she was like, I really was like trying to make friends with my pet bird, and the second I even touched it, it died of fright. Like, that's
She
not an
just wants to be
intended,
normal.
she
But
just wants to
also,
be normal.
the pet shop lady like makes that comment about, she's like, "Oh, like cats are psychic, my brother's wife, also the animals
Gay.
don't do it." And I go, "His wife's a lesbian."
That's a lesbian.
That's a lesbian.
She's an all right girl, but there's something wrong with her.
With her.
The animals can tell.
Not all cats are homophobic.
All cats homophobic.
That's illegal. Not all cats are homophobic. Daphne, come in here and speak for your kind.
Daphne is so homophobic, Monica. What are you talking about?
She's an ally.
That face?
Daphne, are you an ally? See, she just said yes.
I don't know. It is so interesting to me, her relationship with the panther, because she's so clearly like drawn to it at the zoo. She can't help herself from like going back and like watching it, pacing the length of the cage the same way that the panther paces inside of the cage, but she doesn't like to hear it screaming at night, which again, an animal screaming at night is very different than when it's like silently going about its day during the day. So you can understand why one would feel like a magnetic pull and why one would like make her so uncomfortable. But I don't know. The drawing that we see is like her with the knife through it, a la King John with his statue of the sword. So it is kind of this like, its pain is my pain, but also it's caged like I'm caged, and
Yeah.
I see the key and I long to set it free, but the first 500 times I just like give the key back to the zookeeper to be like, don't let it out, girl.
What a bad zookeeper.
Exactly.
Also,
Oh my god, atrocious. His little song was fun though.
I loved how he was like, the Book of Revelation says that the beast is not like, it's not a leopard, but it's like a leopard. And what is like a leopard? A panther.
So obviously they're
So
talking
true.
about that.
So true.
So true,
No, but
bestie.
I mean
Actually,
the whole thing is just so heavy-handed of her being like, I want to keep the beast inside of me. I want to keep it locked up. Even though I'm drawn to this thing, this beautiful panther, it has to stay locked up. So my panther inside of me will stay locked up. The panther is lesbianism. Let us remind everyone again.
Yes.
But then at the end, when she goes and releases it, that's when she's already released her inner self as well. And so, it's kind of straight. It's kind of heavy-handed imagery, but I love it. It's important. It's very important. Oh, when we get to that part, though, I'm pissed. That's not the end yet. We can't talk about it.
I just have such complicated feelings about Oliver because, like, he is very nice and very understanding and very patient in many ways. And then in other ways, he's like, I have to take my insane little wife to the psychiatrist to cure her of her cultural beliefs. And it's just a shame that she's insane now because you can't divorce an insane woman.
Well,
You're just
even like
stuck
I
with
like
her.
it was like that.
Yeah, he was like,
I don't think it was like that.
He's like, if she is mentally ill, like I wouldn't
I
divorce
won't-
her. Like
I'll
I'm not
stay
gonna
with her
leave
to
her. I'm
take care of her.
yeah.
It's the opposite of that, Chelsea. I think
don't
the
know.
issue. I get it. I think the issue. It felt like it was all coming from a good place for him. He's just a bumbling idiot. He's like, she is. Oh my god, something went in my eye. Oh, she is having a hard time. Let us have her talk to someone who could help her get over this like fear, this baseless fear that she seems to have, And he was like, here, talk to this guy. I love this guy. So does Alice. It's going to be great. Talk to him. But like, for me, I was like, that's nice. Like, he could talk to the psychiatrist, but I forgot that it's the fucking 40s. And she could be like deemed a hysterical woman within like 5 seconds and lobotomized.
She could just be given a lobotomy.
Yes,
Exactly.
they want to institutionalize her.
Yeah, no, and that fucking psychiatrist is so sinister from the beginning. He is such a predator. He's like a slinking cat in a way too, because he's like, or like the wolf in sheep's clothing. He's like, oh, I'm here to help you, but
What if I kissed you? Yeah.
Well, it's just like his fucking. Actually, is a great analogy. Like his fucking cane that is secretly a sword.
Why does a psychiatrist need a sword cane?
Like that's him in an object. He's supposed to be like the safe person that's helping you. Like he's just a nice man who needs this cane to walk up the stairs, but actually it's the sword that kills her, And he is like trying to like cure her of like her her
Ailments
trepidation for being intimate, but he's just doing it for him, not for her relationship with Oliver because he wants to fuck her. He's such a piece of shit.
Also,
what do we go ahead?
With Alice, right? Because Alice is the one who recommends the psychiatrist.
Yeah, that's what I was about to bring up.
Alice is the one who like there's like a scene and she like Irena realizes, oh, Oliver, you've been telling all of my shit to your coworker who you are around all the time and all this kind of stuff. And like she kind of loses her shit, rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
And then Alice is like, I'm in love with you. And then they go on that weird little date to the museum.
Couple date.
And they're like, actually, me and Alice love barges.
You're gonna be really bored looking
I don't
at
want
these
you to be
barges
bored.
with us.
Like, you're
Why
just
don't you
not gonna
fuck
get
off
it.
and leave us alone.
That's so fucked up. That was so fucked. I couldn't believe it. But then it leads to the best shot of the entire film, which is her like walking down the stairs and looking forlorn with the Anubis statue in the foreground. Oh, I love that. How iconic.
Also, well, I think my favorite thing with this, it's like we get Irena stalking Alice at the bus stop, right? Like that was the first jump scare of all jump scares, was like that scene. But then you get the sheep.
What part
scene,
was the jump scare?
Where there's like movement and stuff, and then it it's hissing.
Oh, and the
And it's
bus
the bus.
shows up. That's
Yeah.
the bus has jumped there. Okay, I was like, the panther doesn't come out. What do you mean? But
Yeah, it's the
no,
bus.
You're right. You're right. I love that scene though. I love like the click clacking of the heels. Oh, I just thought it was
And
really
like
well,
the
good
illuminated
building of
streetlights.
tension. Yeah, it was really
The
good.
sheep, like, you know, we see the sheep,
Mm-hmm.
and then you see like panther paws that turn into women's shoe
High
prints.
heels.
And that I loved. I was like, oh.
So you keep your clothes when
Oh.
you turn into a panther.
Good to know. I've
I
always
always wonder
wondered.
about that shit. Oh my god. Okay, this is a good time for me to come in and talk about what I did that was not helpful for this episode. But earlier today I watched this movie for the first time and I was like, there's not enough fucking in it. What if we did a double feature with the 80s one? And I was like, oh, it's 2 hours long. We can't do it. It's not gonna happen. But I watched it. I'm like, wow, there couldn't be a more different movie than this movie. Holy shit. It definitely is an erotic thriller, because there's a lot more fucking. But unfortunately, there's also a lot more incest. Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. Because I was making some point earlier today. I was like, oh, maybe they can only like not have, they can only not turn into a panther when they have sex with other lesbians. And that's the secret. Well, that was based off of what is actually the thing in the 1982 cat people. They can only have sex and not turn into a panther with other cat people, and cat people can be girls and boys. I like it better if it's all girls, but I think it
Same.
should be inclusive as well. But whatever. But there is a brother and a sister who are the crux of the film, and they were separated at birth or something. Not separated, but I don't know. They were estranged from each other, and uh he has been searching for her for years, and then he finally finds her, and then like the vibes are whack immediately, but it's like he's been searching for her this his entire life because he's been wanting to fuck someone and not have to become a killer panther right after. And so that's like literally what the whole movie is about. It's crazy.
Isn't that like a phenomenon or something where it's like you have like siblings or like parent and child who like never spent any time around each other ever, or like didn't know, and there's like weird, I think that's like
They've seen that with like a adopted children reuniting with biological relations.
Yeah, like
that there's like a chemist.
sexual
That there's like a
attraction.
sexual draw. Yeah.
Anyway, the reason that I brought up the 82 movie was not just to talk about incest. It was because we were talking about how when Irena, that's her name, right? Irena turns from a panther back into a woman, she keeps her shoes. Not the case in the 82 one. They
can
a
show
lot of
skin in that one.
there's a lot of goop. There is a lot of goop.
Oh, it's
and there's
goopy?
some fucking crazy style of transformations in that movie. So that is the one thing that I think fucks harder in the 82 one, is that you get the 1980s practical effects. You can bring that. That would be so out of place in the tone of the movie from the 40s, of course, but like, wow, the practical goes insane. But it is rather messy. It's rather messy. There's also a guy who reminds me of Steve Irwin in it, so I liked that.
Oh,
I've got a Black Panther trying to kill me.
Oh no! She's gay and she's here to get ya.
Oh my god.
Look at that waggy tail.
Oh, one other through line between the two movies that I thought was so funny. Remember that part in this one where the lady at the restaurant is like, "Do you want the gumbo?" And they're like, "No." And she was like, "Nobody wants the gumbo." There is like, they do like a fucking like mystical black woman trope thing in the 80s one where there is a woman and her name is Female, like female.
Yep.
It's spelled female, and there's this whole weird joke story thing Anyway, she makes gumbo. And she
Okay.
like works at the or is like family friends or something with the incest brother. But I was like, thank God they kept the gumbo
Oh my
between the
God, we'd
two
lost the
films. It's
gumbo.
so important to keep the gumbo.
One article I read didn't say this explicitly, but it did talk about how Oliver and Alice go to a restaurant that is like explicitly American coded. And so I do wonder if the gumbo line is in there to be like, this is American food. Like gumbo is an American food. So they're like placing it in contrast to when they're at the Serbian restaurant that
Mm.
Irena is so excited to discover exists in her town that she lives in now.
Where are they supposed to be in
New
Cat
York.
People? New York? Okay, it's Nola in the 82 one. Also
which makes the
interesting.
gumbo make sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting change.
Another reference that came to mind when I was watching this movie, just also while we're talking about references, is a bird also exploded and died because of repressed queer identity in A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge.
Oh my God, I forgot about
so
that.
I don't
The
know,
bird
just
scene
something
was
I'm
so
noticing.
weird.
Unnoticed.
I'm
Just a
feeling
canary in the coal mine alerting you
Just
that
a
gay
little
shit is about
notice.
to occur.
Wow. What does that mean for me becoming a
What does that
birder?
mean?
I don't
I think
know.
you're not repressed, so a bird would thrive in your home.
Exactly. Oh no, I dropped it.
It's the repression that causes the bird to explode.
So the birds are drawn to me because I'm loud and out.
Yeah,
Here's a
and they feel safe.
little
Look
bird
at
I
that
have.
little guy.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
Oh, but also, hold on. This is just like a weird random fact. So like the actress who plays like the sexy other cat lady in the cafe, right? With the
Uh-huh.
tension.
Who says like, "Oh mon ancestre."
Yeah. She
Yes.
had that one line. That one line ended up being dubbed by Simone Simon, like the actress who played Irena. So like she didn't even actually say anything in
Damn.
the movie.
She still made an impression.
Exactly.
I think one of my favorite things about older movies is the references I'm probably not getting by like the helper people who are around just like saying weird shit and acting to my eye absolutely bizarrely. Like the ladies who are working at the house where the psychiatrist lives at the end and they're like, "Well, don't you worry. I called the cops." And they're like super happy and he's like dead. And like there's it's just the vibes are so weird and like the lady at the pet store, like her whole energy too, and she's making obviously all these like joke references to things that I don't understand. It's like, oh, he's got two feathers like Caruso, and I'm like, this is the comedy aspect of the film, and it's going whoosh right over my head. Wish I could understand it.
They should
Gotta
make
watch every movie from 42 if I want to understand it.
They should release an extended edition of this film with historical commentary that appropriately places you with what you need to know to
Yeah.
parse everything going on in this film. Because I would be very interested in that actually.
Yeah.
Like, from a cultural perspective, I would love to be able to watch this movie and be given the information around it that helps me understand like what it was doing at the time and the way it was received at the time and the way that it continued to be contextualized as society progressed and moved forward. Because I'm very curious about the 80s one. And I also would be so curious about like that was 40 years to the same year after the original. It's been another 40 plus years at this point. But I would be curious to see a new take on the 42 one with what you could do today and what the context on screen that you could show today and inject into it. Like I think that there's really ripe material there that could still speak to a modern audience if you modernized it.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree. I think that could be really, really fun.
Also, with like it obviously being set in 1942 and then filming, like World War II was happening at this time, and she's from Serbia, and so like a fun fact is several details about Irena's backstory was omitted, and they wanted the opening of the film to kind of like talk about her village, and during like a scene, there was a Nazi division who was going to be shown invading her community,
Oy, oy.
and the Germans were going to have no resistance. But then come nightfall, they were all massacred when the villagers morphed into giant felines.
I'm actually
And
at first I was
I
like, we didn't
would've-
need to see that, but actually, no,
I'm
we
like,
needed
I
to
would
see
have
that.
loved a lesbian village murdering Nazis at night, actually.
That sounds really good. What's that trailer from Grindhouse? The
werewolf
babes
Nazi.
of the SS.
Werewolf women of the SS or
SS.
something like that.
Yeah, reminds me of that a little bit. Man, also, I really want to watch the sequel to this, The Curse of the Cat People. It's apparently more fantasy than this one. Did you read about it at all?
Mm-mm.
I didn't know it existed even.
Oh yeah, so there's a sequel that came out like 2 years later. Yeah, 2 years later. And it's like about, it has all the same actors, I think. And I think Oliver and Alice have had a child. And
I thought she
Irena
died.
is dead.
No, the main
Irena
character
dead.
is dead, but
Oliver and Alice had a
coworker.
child.
Mm.
And Irena is dead. And the little girl has an imaginary friend, and it's Irena.
Okay, I'm interested.
Okay.
I saw one clip, and the little girl is like, "Oh, Daddy, you know my friend," and it's a picture of them from their wedding. And she's like, "How could you know her? She's been dead for several years." And I was like, "What is this movie about? I don't know. We should watch it." I'm gonna watch it tonight.
Honestly, I might
if
want
it's
to
an
watch
hour
this
long.
tonight.
I know. It is so wonderful that after we did 2.5-hour long Mulholland Drive last episode, that this one was a tight 73 minutes.
Oh,
I
glorious.
still ruined it for myself because I watched this movie twice and I watched the fucking 82 one. So
yeah,
that's
the
on
second
me,
movie's
though.
only
Yeah, that's your
70
journey.
minutes long. An
Oh my God,
ideal
perfect.
movie time.
Yeah.
Ooh, on Christmas Eve, this could be a Christmas movie, ladies.
Wow.
Wow. I can't wait.
The more that I think about it, I am very interested in, because, okay, there was one article that I read that I don't know if it's a podcast or what exactly, but there's a website from Lehigh, the university, I don't know, but the website is called When the Woman Screams, and it's talking about the pool scene at the end of this movie. And it's very interesting to me that it's kind of like in many ways positioned as the sort of Dracula's daughter thing, as like this innocent woman being hunted by this lesbian coded other woman. But the more that I think about it, especially with the fact that like she's the one that recommended Dr. Judd, and that Irena's inner panther comes out provoked by Alice, not provoked by Oliver, the more I feel like there's something to not just for Irena, but there's something on like the Alice end of it too, that like she also knows the psychiatrist that you call when your wife is a lesbian, and that she has this like specter that's like following her, that she has to like look over her shoulder to make sure it doesn't get her and catch up to her. Like she is not a cat person, but it is like the cat person is
It's
like
her
seeing something
bisexuality.
in her. Or I mean, she could be a full lesbian too, and also Oliver is just like a friendly face to lesbians everywhere, and they all are just like, this man would be. He doesn't
Lesbians
pressure
love
me to do
him.
anything.
Lesbians love him.
He's great, yeah. But I don't know. I'm like really I'm buying in more as we're talking.
No, I agree because I was also expecting there to be some sort of vibe more with them, but because she is like the object of her predatory nature, like Alice is the object of Irena's predatory nature. There's something there for sure. And like the parallel in the 80s remake, I felt like there was more of a natural chemistry between those two characters. I don't even know if that girl's the same, has the same name, but she's like fills the same void and they have like a fun interaction that felt like flirty to me at a bar. So that felt good to like see that like play out a little bit more in the remake. Though the remake not very gay. By the way, was expecting it to be really gay. I thought it would be super gay, not gay at all. But it does have David Bowie involved. He wrote a song for it. So
Ooh.
David Bowie comes back again. The song isn't very good, in my opinion, unfortunately. But it does exist.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
know. I'm so interested. I wish they had even like one scene together where Alice was like taking Irena under her wing as someone new to the area who needs friends. I wish there had just been like a little more for them without Oliver in between. But again, I recognize that the straight presentation of this movie is positioning Alice as like the competition and the other woman in many ways. So to have them fraternizing in such a way would kind of be undercutting that narrative. But I'm the more that I think about it, the more that I am intrigued.
Hmm. No, yeah, I think doing this movie during Homo-Erotic Thriller Pride Month makes it like your expectations different because we all went into this one blind. And this is on all the lists where it's like gay horror movies, and we know it's from the 40s, but like I've seen stuff from the 40s that's like more overtly queer than this, but like the deeper you go, the more interesting it gets. Like it is right there, and like Sydney was saying earlier, it's interesting to see a portrayal of a queer coded individual or an othered individual that isn't like evil villain the whole time. You're getting a sympathetic character. They usually don't get that treatment, so that was really
Although
cool.
when she is being an evil villain, I kind of love her. Like
Oh,
with
I'm
the pool
obsessed with
scene,
her. Oh, she's so psychotic. Where
like
she's just
you
like, "Oh,
don't
hey,
even
Alice."
see anything. And
Mm-hmm.
she's so scared. And then she's like, "Have you seen my husband?" That's some kind of shit that I would do. I'm just saying, like, if
Yeah,
I could
Sydney
turn
coded for
into
sure.
a large cat, that is how I would torment people.
She
Well,
shredded
the
up
first
her fucking robe just to be like, "Fuck you, bitch." Be a little freaked
the
out, bitch.
the first scene of that too, when she when they literally get in a fight about how they're not having any intimacy, and he's like, I'm gonna give you time to cool. Oh, it's like he told Alice everything, and they get in that fight, and then he's like, I'm gonna give you time to cool off, I'm just gonna go back to work, which is literally part of the fight that we're having right now. Like, I don't know how he possibly thought that was a good idea. That's kind of why I'm like,
Because he's a
Oliver's
He's
such
not
a
man.
very
dumb bitch.
smart. He's not smart.
But then she calls and Alice answers the phone and she just is like silent, stewing. I loved that. I thought that
And then
was
she does it
fun.
again, like when, and, but Alice is like, she answers the phone and it happens. She goes, Arena's like coming. And then that's when they're in the little like architect thing. And she's like full blown panther. And they use one of his large, like protractor things that look like a cross
Yeah, like why did that was okay. Like they're like religion,
Uh-huh.
stay away, cruel beast. I was like, okay, fuck off.
She's
Like
the
I get
monster
it.
inside of her.
That was so fucking funny. He was like, "You shall not pass by the power of God" or whatever. And I was like, "Okay, Christianity, we get it."
That's kind of what I'm not I'm still parsing, um but I'm not really sure exactly what I think of this movie yet, because in many ways, if it is queer coded, to have it be so sympathetic to Irena as a character is like very like soft and nice to my heart. But also, is it sympathetic to her as a character because it's like, well, she tried
Oh,
her hardest
she's
and then she just
insane.
dies, and so like she blah blah, you know what I mean? One of the articles that I read said that when she gives into Dr. Judd's advances, it's because she has accepted that she's never going to be able to like conform appropriately and have this relationship with Oliver, especially because he's already kind of moved on in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
She's recognizing that she's never going to fit into that, and so it's almost like she is choosing a suicidal path by letting herself be put into this position by Dr. Judd, which will lead her to transform, which will lead her to be in some altercation that's leading to her death. It's very like she'd rather be, the article's like she'd rather be dead than go on living the way that she has been.
I
And if
feel
it's like
like
sympathetic
yeah,
to
but
that, that's like sad to me.
yeah, I feel like that's taking it like 5 steps ahead of where she's at, where we're not like taking. I don't know if she's 7 steps ahead like that. In the moment, she might instead be being like, "I'm not going to stop fighting what I am anymore. And I know this guy is trying to take advantage of me. Go ahead, bitch. That's the last thing you'll
The
ever
Panther
do."
comes out, yeah.
Exactly. So I thought it was more of like a powerful thing. Like she just like took that kiss and was like, "Okay, get ready to meet Panthera. Here she comes." I loved that part. That look on her face was so good. I love when he breaks up. Sorry. Okay, I'm all over the place. But when Oliver breaks up with her, which that whole scene was so terrible because she's like, "I'm cured. I figured it out. I'm cured. We can fuck right now." Essentially, is what she's saying, by the way. And then he's like, "Oh, I would have loved if you had said that like 5 minutes ago, but actually, I am in love with Alice now." Immediately, that was what a fucking bitch. What a fucking bitch.
What a
But
way to
I
do
think,
it, though.
oh my god, that was just. It couldn't have been worse. He's an idiot. He's like a textbook himbo. He's just like a dumb motherfucker.
He's
He's dumb.
just a man.
Like he's sweet sometimes, but he's ultimately a dumbo who's an idiot. But anyway,
Very
when
I'm
she
progressive for
willing
just
the
to buy
time.
into your
So dumb.
read. Yeah, I'm willing to buy into your read that he's doing the best that he can to be a good husband to her within the societal confines at the time.
yeah.
I can't stop looking at it through a 2025 lens and being like, stop trying to institutionalize your wife for having cultural beliefs that, by the way, as it turns out, are accurate.
Yeah. But I love her like break that she has there where she just like cuddles down on the couch and is like, "I love the darkness. I love being alone. It's fine. I love this. It's great. It's fine." And he's like, "Oh my God, what the fuck?" And then she scratches the couch. Oh, her descent into not madness, but like her like most carnal self is like beautiful to watch. Just like what a masterclass in like subtle acting too. Like after that kiss with the fucking psychiatrist and her face doesn't move at all and she just has that look in her eyes and that effect that they did as her transformation into the panther with like the glowing eyes. Like they can't do that much at that time, you know. But it was very effective. I think it's cool to see those like very, very old effects. And like a lot of the time it looks stupid, but sometimes it's still totally effective. It's like
But in the
How the
house on Haunted
creature
Hill, when
makeup
that
is-
skeleton came flying at the audiences, man, were they afraid.
Oh yeah. Well, that shit's different. That was the Castle Productions fucking what are they called? Like Spectroscope or something like that. They had all those like funny names, like the
Mhm.
Whamorama.
Right.
Like I love the Whamorama. But yeah. Do we want to talk about the end?
Well, I have one other reference that I think is interesting because it made me think of it right away. But the more that I'm ruminating on it, I'm like, oh, there's something to that kind of. The pool scene of Alice in the pool, like diving into the pool to hide in the pool as if that will somehow protect her in some way. I'm not sure why she felt that. I was trying to this is unrelated. I was trying to at first be like, didn't we talk about some movie recently where the animals can't go in the water? And that was 2001 Planet of the Apes from Tim Burton, where they don't like to swim. But what it made me think
Oh,
of
yeah.
is the pool scene from It Follows.
Yes.
And how
I also
they're
felt that.
which is so interesting because obviously It Follows also has this sexual aspect of like this sexually passed curse that comes to kill you versus the my sexual desires overtake me and I become a monster if I give in to them, and now my this person is like an innocent person is like hiding in the pool like looking for me. They can't see me, but I am here a threat to them nonetheless.
Yeah, no, I wonder if that is part of the inspiration for that scene in It Follows because it felt very similar. Just another little detail for you. For that scene, which they recreated to 80s-ify it, don't worry, she was topless.
Thank God.
Good. As
Like
I
they were
always
like, how do we
swim.
make this 80s? Oh, well, she got scared and she was mid changing into her bathing suit, and then she got scared, same as Alice does in this one,
She got
and runs and
scared
jumps
and
in the
she went
pool.
and her top popped off.
She got so scared that her boobies came out. Actually, there is a part where that kind of happens in another context later. Anyway, it's a great film. It's really strange. Really strange. Very fantastical. But yeah, the ending of this one, I loved it. But it also made me very upset because one, I love that we killed the psychiatrist. Fuck him.
Yeah.
He should
And
die.
that he's the only person that dies really does feel like it is like positioning
like,
him as like
good
a
for her.
predator.
He
Yeah.
is a predator. 100% he's a predator. He shouldn't be trying to fuck your patients. Okay,
Rule number
there you
one,
go.
actually.
Pretty sure they
Rule
knew that was
number
bad
one.
even in the 40s. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I love that. I love that she is still alive. She sneaks out. She hides her big giant sword sticking out of her shoulder with her cunty coat, which I love. And then she goes to see her bestie, which is Panthera herself, and lets her out. But one, why does she just die from her wounds, or does she die
Because the panther dies?
panther? Well, the panther,
The panther
kind
like
of punched
hits
her.
her.
But like I don't think it's not like it slashed her throat out or anything. It just like knocks her down, and it didn't like stab the knife into her more or anything. But then she just dies. But then like, oh my god, I can't believe the panther is out for 5 seconds and immediately gets run over by a car and it's dead. I was like, are you
know.
kidding me? I was furious. Why?
It said we're
Why?
squashing the gay, actually.
Why?
You could be gay in Serbia until they brought Christianity over, and don't come over here and try that shit in America. We're gonna run it over real quick, is like the messaging of that a little bit. I don't know.
Dude. I hated it. I was like, that's such a letdown. She was just trying to cause a little trouble. A little female trouble.
They just have a psychological need to do a little evil or whatever Dr. Judd says.
And is that so bad to let a
That's
panther
so
out?
bad.
Let Panthera roam. What a movie. Really interesting.
I think the panther's name was like Domino or something, or like
I renamed her Panthera.
Panthera.
The panther actor, you mean?
Yeah.
I was just looking at
Domino?
it on IMDb
It was something with a
trivia.
D.
Is a black leopard actually dynamite?
Dynamite. Yeah, I was like, it's something with a D.
Dynamite.
It's dynamite actually with an A.
Oh, that was a reference to my ninth grade campaign for student council president, where on every single one of my posters I spelled dynamite wrong. It
On
said
purpose,
Monica
though.
Height, she's dynamite, but I spelled it wrong. And then I told everyone it was on purpose. And they're like, that was funny. And I was like, yeah, I know. It wasn't.
How is
Anyway.
dynamite normally spelled? It's normally spelled with
It's
an
not
A?
like dino, not like dinosaur, which is what I spelled it.
Oh, it's with a Y and you spelled it with an I?
Is it dynamite or dynamite?
Dynamite.
The name of the black leopard that is in this movie is Dynamite with an A. But bomb dynamite, I don't know. Let's see how that's spelled. Because now I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, it is with an A. Spelled
Yeah, I
spelled
spelled it
just
with
like
a
the black
O.
leopard's name.
I might have spelled it with an I also. I really spelled it wrong. Anyway,
Dynamite.
I didn't win that election. I didn't win that election, and that's why.
Dynamite is from like a TV show as like a catchphrase. It's from Good Times.
Dynamite.
Yeah, from the 70s.
Well, that's what I was referencing, of course.
As we all knew at the time.
As we all knew at the
Cabrini
time.
Green.
What?
Good Times, the project that they live in is
Cabrini Green?
named on the show, but is implicitly the infamous Cabrini Green homes.
But I used to go swimming there in their community pool at Cabrini Green all the time, every summer.
That's so great. I love that.
I made a lot of good friends.
Are we ready for our
Segamuntos?
Let's go. How could this movie be gayer? I have several ideas. There could be one more scene where the other cat lady is even visible. She could say one other word. I could cry. I really thought something was gonna happen there. What a
She could be
letdown.
at the zoo also there to visit the panther. You know what I mean? Like that could have been a great place to have two strangers run into each other. We know that's where she had her meet cute with Oliver. So it could kind of like have a parallel of it being a pseudo meet cute-esque thing. And then maybe that's why she recognizes her again in the restaurant, or she sees her at the zoo later. I don't know. I feel like they could have, and again, they couldn't in the 40s without making Irena explicitly a monster in intention and not just beyond her will. But that's what I would add for part of it at least. And again, like I said, I would also want another scene of like Alice and Irena bonding in some capacity, which I feel like would be very easy to fit in one of those classic like, oh, the women are over there and the men are over here kind of way.
No, but Alice only wants to talk about barges, and Irena's too fucking stupid to talk about barges.
You wouldn't know what a barge is, you immigrant who must have come over here on a ship.
A barge.
Also, any bitch, not just architects, likes to look at miniature ships, by the way. I think they're very interesting. Anyone can like miniatures. So that's very small-minded of them. Just another side note, the 80s version also has a similar woman. And she also is only in it for 5 seconds and then never again. So I guess that's canon.
Man.
They can't change that. Yeah, no, I think those are great ways to make it gayer. And there could have been a gay panther kiss.
Like the Panthers.
There could have been another panther and they kiss and then they're like, oh my god, they're both girls.
Imagine if at the end, when the panther bonks her, it like lands atop her and is like nose to nose with her for a second before it like does one little kind of nuzzle and then moves on. I would love to see them remake mostly the same movie as this, but just have the ability to do a little more. Like, I don't need it to go crazy 80s style, although, again, How
But
fun
it
can
did.
that be? But even if they just take like literally the same exact story and build it out a little, because again, this movie is 73 minutes. They could take another, I don't know,
20.
17 to make it a tight 90 and add in a couple of scenes here and there to flesh things out. But
That wouldn't hurt.
it wouldn't hurt. And things could be like a little sexier. And I would like to really see them. I would like to see her and Oliver kiss and have her start to think maybe she is like safe from this mythology, because she doesn't know that she's a cat person. She just knows that people said that her mother was a cat person because her father died when she was young. And so they're like, oh, this must be what it was, blah, blah,
Well, they
blah.
had to have fucked once.
I mean, they must have fucked once. And so obviously that's why her dad's dead, because her mom immediately became a panther and killed him. But she doesn't know for sure about herself. She just maybe kind of has like a sense or whatever. So I would love to get more of an exploration of that with Oliver and her starting to think maybe she's like safe from this after all and can have a normal life after all, and then discover it's actually because she feels no sexual desire towards men. There's like maybe a comfort and a familiarity with him because he's her husband and she does cherish him as a person. But then as stuff is evolving with Alice, she's like, this desire is blossoming within her, and that's when she starts to go, oh, we're in trouble. Like, I would love to see them just like feel that out a little more when they can be a little more explicit about and it doesn't even need to be fully explicit. It can still be subtextual for the ones who get it, but there's so much more they can do now that we're not under the Hays Code.
Yeah. No, I'd love to see that. Any other gay thoughts you'd like to share?
So many more gay thoughts.
Okay, Matthew Lillard. Where would he fit into this movie?
Okay, the only correct answer is the zookeeper.
That's right. That is right. I was like, is she going to say what I want her to say? Yes, she did.
Heard. That's it. That's it. That's the only option. I'm not willing to think of anything else.
Love.
Love. Moving on.
It's the perfect spot for him.
It's a central role. He's revealing
He'd kill that
lore.
little song.
Yeah.
He'd kill that little song.
He's like sweeping with his little broom. He's silly me. I left the key in the lock. I'm always doing that.
I am just endangering the lives of the town folks every day.
Yeah.
And oopsies.
In our new modern version, he's like a lesbian fairy godmother where he's like, oops, I left the key in the cage. I guess anybody
You'll
could
have to
unlock
kiss this
something within
Panthera.
them whenever they want to. Whenever you're ready, girl, the key's in the lock.
Just turn it. Wow, love that. Okay, dumb bitch. Who's the dumb bitch of this movie?
It's Oliver.
He is a dumb bitch. He is a dumb bitch. I want to give it to the psychiatrist too because he's the worst bitch of them all, and he sucks so bad. But Oliver is literally just like really
He's
dumb.
just a dumb
he's like
bitch
really
is the
fucking
thing.
dumb. He's like, I never
like
realized
actually
that
stupid.
he's like really stupid.
It didn't occur to him that most people like kiss at their wedding. It's only when a month and a half has passed that he's like, I'm starting to get a little worried.
He thought she was just nervous. That's her first time after all. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's like a tie. One is more sinister and one is himbo. Those are the two types of dumb.
I'll do a tie.
Adam wants to know if he is a sinister dumb bitch or a himbo dumb bitch.
Adam's a himbo dumb bitch for sure.
Adam's a himbo dumb bitch for sure.
He
100%.
plays as sinister, but only for pretend.
Yeah.
No,
he loves
nothing
to put on
about
a little
Adam
character.
is sinister.
He's
himbo.
Pure of heart.
Yep.
Okay, that brings us to our knives out of 5. So, what was the critical reception to this bad boy?
Well, I was very positive from what I saw. And then I forgot to read IMDb trivia until we were already recording. And then I was skimming it while we were reading. And I saw one on there that was interesting, which is that Kind of like Sydney was saying, it was very successful in a box office perspective, which meant that it was playing in theaters for so long that a lot of critics who didn't like it at first were able to see it a second time and revise their. It says that many rewrote their reviews with a more positive spin. So it seems
Oh.
like even if you
It's a
didn't
grower,
like
not a
it,
shower.
it's a grower. It's a grower. And so even if you didn't like maybe get it the first time or like find something to connect with it over time as you thought about it and as you reviewed the footage, you're like, okay, I see what's happening here now. Which I do feel like could be my journey down the road, but for now, I'll leave you with the numbers. On IMDb, this movie has a 7.2 out of 10. And on Rotten Tomatoes, it has 92% fresh from critics. And I know, right?
Wow.
And 73% fresh from audiences. It doesn't really have any like awards to speak of necessarily. I don't know if it's just because like that information is not on IMDb or the 40s were different, blah, blah, blah. But it has kind of made some recent rounds in terms of recognition. It's been part of some like DVD sets that have gotten some awards, but it also last year in 2024 was inducted into the Online Film and Television Association's Hall of Fame. So I
Wow.
thought that that was interesting that it's like very much still a film that is like in discussion and it does seem like there's a lot of sort of academic analysis of this film and engagement with this film. So it is kind of a thriller, a classic thriller, even if it doesn't strike us as so like thrilling per se. And another IMDb trivia did say that RKO executives were reportedly skeptical about the finished film, which they believed was too subtle and possibly not overt enough to compete with Universal's brand of horror, which again is more of like the Mummy and Dracula, the Invisible Man kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So it was subtle even at the time when it came out. But like Sydney said, it has like one of the first jump scares. IMDb trivia was calling it a cat scare. Which is like when you think something scary is going to happen and then something not scary is revealed to be like the source or it's like the payoff at least. So like she thinks something's going to come out of the bushes but then the bus arrives instead. Or like you and a lot of other movies you think something is like following you and then it's like there's a cat in the alleyway that like knocks over
Yeah.
a trash can lid or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I did have its fingers in film history for sure.
Okay, cool. Um, who wants to go first? I don't think I'm ready.
I'll go first. I'm gonna give this movie a 4.5 out of 5 because I had no expectations, and this movie is from the 40s, so I was not expecting anything like overt. I went into it knowing that like I was gonna have to pick up the cues,
Mm-hmm.
and I went in looking for, gay subtext basically. I was like, it's
Yeah.
not gonna be, and I thought it was more overt in your face than what I was expecting it to be. Like, like I wasn't expecting it to be like overtly sexual or anything like that, but it
Yeah, definitely
still
not.
was very homoerotic in the like more traditional sense that like being queer is in fact its own like brand of being erotic because it is other, it is different for this time.
Where like
Mm-hmm.
homoerotic was not used to show homos being erotic, it
Yeah.
was to say like there is a tension that can never be remarked upon
Mm-hmm.
because then it is now explicitly queer
Like
as opposed to homoerotic.
exactly. And I thought the acting was like really lovely. I fucking love black and white movies. Like things are just so there's things that we can't achieve anymore, and it's that like soft blurring effect of like Everything is just
whatever film technology they were using at the time.
Yeah, and like the lighting, and it's not in HD and 4K, and like you're not seeing every pore. Like, I loved it.
Gorgeous.
Like,
You're
this
yearning for
does
another time.
honestly, this makes me want to watch the sequel. So maybe that's what I'll do in bed tonight.
Yeah, that'd be really nice. Okay, for me, I'm gonna go a little bit lower. I still really liked it a lot, even after watching it the first time, and I was like, could be gayer. Um, I just was I'm used to some high octane nipple play stuff going on.
I know, we literally got
Okay?
titty sucking 2 movies in a row.
I know. I was waiting. I didn't think there was going to be a nipple out, but I think I've been so amped nonstop, you know. And I just got back from AIDS Life Cycle, which is like a big horny gay love hug the entire week long. So I came back and I was like, okay, I'm ready for more of that. A little bit less. That doesn't mean it's not good. It's really, really good. It's really interesting. It's really cool to see how something as subtle as this was as impactful as it is and was back then because of the laws and the prohibitions. That's not the word.
I think that works.
Prohibitions. Okay.
The prohibition of
The Hays Code.
queer
That's what I'm trying to say.
representation,
Yeah,
etc.
exactly. Yeah. So it really was doing a lot, and I think that the main actress, what's her name?
Simon, which
What a
is such a
great
Hollywood name. Yeah.
name. Simone Simon was she was stunning in it. She was so good. And I don't know, I like the movie more. I love when we have an episode where I like the movie more once we're done talking about it. That's always really fun. So I definitely feel that way this time around. I think I'm gonna give it like a 3.9 with a little heart next to it because I love it
I'll put a little heart.
with a little heart.
Yeah, I think
With
my
that
rating is going to
red.
be somewhere around there, and I think it is sort of like a provisional first watch rating as opposed to like a full finished polished takeaway of the movie. Um because again, I do think as we've talked about it, I'm like thinking of more aspects of the movie to engage with, and I think if I had different expectations going in, especially now that I know what the movie is, I would have a different experience. One thing that we talked about when we were choosing this movie is that all of the lists were saying that it's like as explicit as it could be for the time. And I think Sydney and I interpreted that in very different ways. And for her, it prepared her for what movie we were going to get. And for me, I was thinking more about those other movies like Dracula's Daughter, where it like is explicitly like, watch out for your daughters, townspeople, because the lesbian's coming to get you. And so I was expecting it to be more of like monstrous lesbianism in that
Mm-hmm.
sense, and that there just wouldn't actually be any like kissing or anything happening. I was like expecting it to be more on the page, but because it is so sympathetic, they have to lose that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I like that it is so soft to her at the end, where it's like she was right, she was never mistaken, her beliefs were real. Um and we dismissed her, and it does kind of have this like we did wrong by her ethos to a degree. And I don't I again, I would love to watch this movie with like a historical film critic's explanation, like walking you through it, commentary style. Um, because I think that there's a lot there to appreciate that I just don't have the base of knowledge for.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think ultimately, in many ways, it was trying to be kind. Um, and I like that.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm gonna give this movie again, my provisional first watching rating is gonna be like a 3.8. And I think over time that would grow along with my experience of and relationship to the film.
Perfect. Hell yeah. Oh, I'm glad we did this movie. It's cool to do the classiques.
Yeah, that was one thing that I really wanted to do this movie, because I wanted to do a really old movie and movies from all different eras, because like the narrative in America is so like, oh, these new queers and these new genders and these new blah blah, like these are not new concept. These are things
Yeah,
that have been around
dumbass.
for a really, really long time. Maybe they couldn't be discussed as explicitly as they can be today, but like being gay is not a new invention by
No.
any means.
And
And
it's
so
literally
like
found in nature also.
animals are doing it all the
Facts.
time.
Birds do it. Bees do it.
What's the end of that? Even
educated fleas do it.
There you go.
Let's do it. Let's make love or something like that.
Yeah. I
I
don't
wasn't
know.
gonna
I'm
sing the
just
whole
like,
song.
whether this movie was as gay as you wanted it to be or thought it was gonna be or not, it is a fact that it is a movie that can be viewed through a queer lens and that spoke to queer audiences at the time, because queer people have always existed.
Hell
Period.
yeah.
Period.
Period. So
Okay, well, that closes the book on cat people. Maybe we'll watch Curse of the Cat People tonight. Who knows? But the exciting conclusion of Homoerotic Thriller Pride is coming. And I can't believe it's almost over. Like, wait, is that right? Is
I
it the
know.
end of June already? Did we have 5 weeks in June last year? Is that why this feels so short? Like 5 Tuesdays? Or was last year the year we did But I'm a Cheerleader as like a prelude into...
that was our 5th Tuesday right beforehand.
Yeah. We need more gay. Whatever. Megan 2.0 is coming out like next week, so it's fine.
Right.
Or this week, depending on when this comes out. I don't know. But this week is an exciting one because this is our patron chosen film this quarter. The people spoke. We gave them a small list of options, but the people spoke. And there was even a vote off. Things are getting crazy. They're heated. It was heated. People were trying to throw the vote in the chat. My God, democracy at its worst.
Uh-oh.
But in the end, a decision was made, and that movie is... Someone else say it, not me, because I don't think I
Sydney,
get
would
to
you like
introduce
to?
this one. I think Sydney should.
Oh. It's Black Swan.
I'm so excited. I
I'm
haven't seen this movie
excited.
since it came out.
Me either. I've only
Yeah,
seen
I
it
actually
once.
don't know. That might be
saw
true for me too.
It's that one time in theaters, and I remember being like, whoa.
Whoa.
Whoa, crazy.
I should ask Lucy. She
Ballerina.
was Black Swan for Halloween. I'd be like, girl, where's your costume? I need it for
Girl.
recording.
Mm-hmm.
I have black feathers that I wore to the Ren Fair, so we'll see what happens. No one knows. But I'm excited. Mila Kunis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Natalie Portman.
Natalie Portman, of course.
And then somebody
Mila
else is
Kunis.
in the movie at the party scene who was like an older ballerina.
I don't know. But I'm excited. I'm really excited. And this is definitely queer. It's definitely erotic. It's definitely homo.
Definitely a thriller.
Winona Ryder.
Yeah.
Oh, what? I don't remember that at all. Damn. Okay, yeah. No, I'm really excited to revisit this one. I think this will be a banging way to end out fucking Pride, man. Like, gotta go crazy. So I hope you're raging. I hope your pride flag is flying all week long. And you know, it's Pride. You should show your pride of us. And
Show us your pride.
Show us your pride.
Pride, like a group of big cat animals.
Whoa.
Whoa. Once
That
again,
was
another queer reading of this film.
Incredible. Whatever she just said, you could write that in a 5-star review for us on Apple Podcasts. We would really appreciate it. We would feel prideful in that. Also, we'll accept a 5-star rating on Spotify. That's also very good. And why not follow us on social media? We're at spooky_Tuesday on pretty much everything except for Facebook and Tumblr. We're at Spooky Tuesday Pod. Check out our website, www.spookytuesdaypod.com, for your one-stop shop for everything, every link you could ever want to click, every picture you could ever want to see, including a link to our Patreon, that's the people who just chose Black Swan, babe. That could be you.
That could
You
be
could be doing
If you
that.
wish it had been another movie, then I guess you should become a patron so that you can vote next round.
It could have been Bound, but they voted for Black
You could have
Swan.
had the deciding vote.
You could have made it been Bound if you were a patron, but you're not yet. But that's okay. Life is a journey, and the destination is our Patreon. So head on over there. And also we're on YouTube today. We're throwing it back. We're in black and white, and we look really hot in black and white.
That's what I'm saying.
Our red lipstick looks so mysterious. What color are they wearing? You don't get to know.
Who's to say
That's
it
for
could
us
be
to know.
green
You don't get to know. It probably, yeah, back in the day it was green.
and like
'Cause it
hot
looked
pink?
better. Yeah. Anyway, mysterious. And I'm Irena. And Chelsea is a cat. And
I'm
Sydney,
Panthera.
She's Panthera. And Sydney is wearing an oysters hat. And there is like a sexy oyster scene in the 80s version of Cat People. So it's actually to theme. So there you go. It's beautiful. Follow us on YouTube, subscribe. And that's it. So I have to say at the end of the day, happy Pride. Thank you for listening. And we'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye, spookies.
Spooky Tuesday was created by Monica Height, Sydney Thompson, and Chelsea Duff, and edited by Sydney Thompson. Our gorgeously spooky tunes are all thanks to Tamara Simons, who you can follow on Instagram at Great18. That's GR818_. And our podcast art is by Ryan Brom, who you can follow on Instagram at Ryan Brom Art. That's RyanBrommArt. Learn more about Spooky Tuesday at spookytuesdaypod.com and subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/spooky_Tuesday.